Were the Draft Riots a protest against the Civil War? Were the Draft Riots a protest against the Civil War? This question takes us back to July of 1863 in New York City. The Draft Riots were indeed a protest, but they were not just against the Civil War itself. They were a violent response to the federal government's conscription law, known as the Enrollment and Conscription Act of 1863. This law mandated a military draft to fill the ranks of the Union Army. Many working-class citizens, especially Irish immigrants and lower-income white laborers, felt that this draft system was unfair. They believed it placed a heavier burden on the poor. Wealthier individuals could pay a $300 commutation fee to avoid service. This created resentment and a perception that the war effort was being unfairly shouldered by those who could not afford to buy their way out. The riots began as a reaction to the draft but quickly escalated into broader expressions of social, racial, and economic tensions. Many rioters feared that the war and emancipation would lead to an influx of freed African Americans competing for jobs. This fear heightened racial animosities and led to violent attacks against Black residents and institutions. Notably, the Colored Orphan Asylum was destroyed, and there were lynchings of Black individuals during this unrest. The riots also reflected anger toward the government and political leaders. Many working-class individuals felt that these leaders were indifferent or hostile to their struggles. While many Northern laborers supported the Union war effort in principle, they resented the inequities of the draft and the economic and racial consequences of the war. Thus, the draft riots represented a complex protest. They were against the draft system, against the social and racial changes brought by the war, and against political leadership perceived as unresponsive to the concerns of the working class. The violence during the riots exposed deep divisions in Northern society regarding the war and its consequences. In summary, the draft riots were not simply an anti-war protest. They were a multifaceted uprising rooted in opposition to conscription policies, racial tensions, economic hardship, and political disenfranchisement during the Civil War period.